The EV market shares plummeted first quarter. Consumers are souring on this. This is according to the Associated Press. Sales for new vehicles. They said sales for new vehicles grew 5% in the first 3 months of the year, but EV sales grew only 2.7 because consumers are choosing, practical vehicles due to cost and product concerns. The average sales price declined 3.6 year to year to $44,186 in March. $44,000. Oh my gosh, then they're so ugly. Can I just be real? Like I have two friends out of my friends. I only have two that have EVs. And one of them, they bought it kind of because they were they just kind of, it's like their experimental car because they can. And and then one of them bought it because she doesn't really go anywhere except around town and to get her kids from school and all that stuff, right? And she didn't want like a big giant car. And they're both ugly as sin. They are ugly. They are so ugly. One of them is mint colored, like a pastel mint. That is nasty. I don't even know what kind it is. They don't even look remarkable to me. You know what I mean? And I get that some of them go, I like if it goes fast, but I don't know. I like the iconic Americana, and I want to actually fear for my ever-loving life when the door closes. I want, every time I close the door, I want there to be a risk of me losing a limb because the door would shut on it. And I want a giant heavy door. I want a heavy door that I can't be holding all my groceries in one hand and actually one hand it. I want two hands on the door. Is that too much to ask? Right? I'm a little woman. In my mind, I am huge. In my mind, I'm like 200 pounds, 6'7", I'm like, huge in my head. In reality, I'm a $120 and I'm like 5'6¾", right? 5'7". I'll lie and be like 5'7" when I go in for my well visits and they're looking at me like, really? I'm like, I swear to you, I am. But I'm in reality, I'm like, I'm twee. And I want a giant car. I want a big car. I don't want to sit low to the road. I want to sit up and I want everyone to be terrified of me. Particularly the men, because everybody in Texas drives a big car. And I just feel like everyone stays away from you, especially if you're a woman in a giant car. And the men particularly, like they will get away from you. They're like, oh my gosh, let the woman go. Like we don't even care if we have right of way. I don't even care if that's the closest parking spot. We're terrified of this person. She can't drive probably and is in a huge car that's heavy and goes fast. Let her go for the love. I like that. It's just polite. Armed society is a polite society, and a large car society is also a polite society. I don't like the fact that they don't make any noise. There's no satisfaction when I get in. That's the other thing. Some of them play. I had a loaner, because mine was in the shop, and they gave me an EV, and I died. I refuse to drive. I am a brat. I will not drive it. I had to, because I had to go to my allergist appointment. My golly. And I wanted one of my kids to take me, like an old lady, because I didn't want to drive this stupid car, but they had lives. Damn kids. And so I had to drive this godforsaken EV, whatever it is, this horrible thing to the allergist office. And I get in and there was no satisfaction, right? Like if I get in my car and I start it, it goes, whoop, 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 whoop. I'm not going to tell you what kind of car I have, but yeah. If you didn't know that it was a woman driving it, you'd probably think I was overcompensating for something. And I get in it and I shut the little dinky door and it played like a little song. I was like, what in the fruitcake business is this? Like, what in the world? Why is it? It played, it was like, I can't even do it. It played a little song and it has a giant iPad in the middle of it. A giant screen, which totally isn't distracting you at all when you're driving. A giant flippin' flat screen in the middle. And there was just so much wasted space. I was immediately picking it apart. And I didn't even like the color of the interior. It was like eggshell white, and that just killed my soul. And it was all white. Like the car was white, the inside was white, and there was like gray tones to it. And it made me feel like it was an old-timey Joanna. And I love Joanna Gaines, but I am not a white-on-white type of decor person. I hate modernity. And I was in hell. My soul rotted every second I was in this vehicle until I got to my allergist office. And it was off, and it was bright in there. It was bright. I don't want it bright in my car. It's horrible. I'm like a bat. I want to be in the darkness. It was horrible. And Kane, it like plays little songs whenever you would do anything. And then when you turned it off, I'm like, well, hell, is this thing off? Is this car off? I didn't even know. Like, I was getting ready to just like go into my doctor's office, and I didn't even know if the car was going or not. Because they don't, I need something, if I can't hear it, I need it to be like, it is off now. You play a song for me, but you can't do that. Yes, ma'am, you turn the car off. Ding, ding. I don't even get the luxury of that. You know what I mean? Why do I need all of that stuff in the middle of my thing? I don't need all those things. I don't need it. I don't need to be able to watch a movie while I'm driving a car. What in the world is that? What is that? Why do people do this? Have you ever been in one of those things? Yeah. Where it's stupid. It is, just because you can doesn't mean you should. And it also feels as though it's like a caricature of, it feels like a Jacques Tati car. If you're familiar at all with the filmmaker Jacques Tati, French filmmaker who used to make fun of modernity in all of his films. And Playtime is one of the funniest movies I have ever seen in my life. It's my youngest son's favorite film ever. And he makes fun of modernity and all of this stuff throughout the whole, I mean, his films are hysterical. It was like in the 60s. And they don't say a single word in this film. It's just a riot. You watch it and at first you're like, what is, really? And then you get into it. And it's one of the funniest things I've ever watched. And I felt like it was designed, this inside of this car, it was designed by Jacques Tati. Because it was a joke. I know I'm going on way too long about this car, but I was really disturbed, guys, down to my core. I was shook. I was literally shook. I don't like it. I don't like it that I can't hear them coming. I don't want to be walking down the road and stop and turn around and there's the car. You know, I just don't. It's like creeping up on you. It shouldn't be like a predator. Although, I would make an EV called a Predator. And it would be specifically, I shouldn't say this out loud. Because I don't like bicyclists.